I'm delighted to introduce our Navigating Coming Out as a Parent podcast in celebration of Pride Month. My name is Gemma Jackson, and I'm Head of Diversity, Equity and Inclusion at RSA. And it's important to note that whilst we're having this conversation in June, that Pride is all year round. It's a continuous conversation, and we are always focused on inclusion. To our LGBTQ plus colleagues at RSA, we want you to know that we see you, we hear you, and you are very welcome here. And to our allies, thank you for your ongoing support.
Hi, I'm Paula. I'm an accountant in Motability. I've joined today because I've got a 21-year-old son who's gay, and I identify as straight and have a boyfriend.
I'm Gail. I work in the Motability part of RSA, and I have a son who is 15 and is trans.
Hi, I'm Catherine Litchfield. I work as a customer experience manager in the marketing team at RSA. My daughter's 16. She's bisexual. She came out to us about 3 years ago.
My name is Maria Bird. I work as PR executive in the communications team. I'm a lesbian. I'm a massive lesbian. And I came out 13 years ago to my parents. That's why I'm part of this conversation.
So my experience in relation to coming out is with regard to my son. I was working on the computer doing a typical day for RSA, and he just said, "Mum, there's something for you," and left a little note on the table. So I wandered up, read this note, and by the way, he had run off at the time. He literally dropped the note and ran back upstairs. So I read this note, and it was to the point of, "You might not know this, but I'm trans." And he actually said, you might not like me because of this, but this is who I am, and my name's Evan." I just ran upstairs and said, "Yeah, mate, come and give us a hug. This is fantastic. We'll be okay, and love you lots." And, everything has stemmed from there, really. I have had 1,001 questions, as I'm sure everybody has, but he's really good. And, I was, I don't know what the word is, blindsided potentially, because I didn't really have an idea at the time. But it was almost like, what's changed? Love doesn't change. How you feel about the child doesn't change. Still my same child.
So my main experience of coming out is my son as well. I think he was about maybe 11 at the time, and I'd noticed him become very withdrawn. He'd stopped talking. His whole body language told me that he was in quite a bit of distress. I started really worrying. So just one day at the dinner table, I just said, we need to have a conversation. Neither of us are going anywhere until you tell me what's going on. And then, sorry, I'm getting upset. He said he was worried I wouldn't love him anymore. Obviously, that could never happen. So I assured him that whatever it was, that couldn't happen. But that really worried me. And he still took a little bit of a while. And then he just told me he was gay. And the relief that was all it was. Do you know what I mean? That's just totally inconsequential to me. So got up, lots of hugs, lots of tears. And obviously I was hugely relieved.
Well, I completely empathise with that. I think that is exactly how Evan felt as well. And I think that's why he ran off, because he just thought I would shout at him or whatever was going to happen. And it must be so worrying for them, mustn't it?
The thought that your child is going through the thought process to think that they mightn't love you is just horrific, isn't it?
Very difficult for a parent to accept. And we see things completely different. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think my experience with my daughter, who's bisexual when she came out to us, is quite different. What I always worried about was the reaction of my husband, where it wasn't enough for her, wasn't what she was looking for. And actually, I've had a real opportunity in preparation for this discussion and talking to her about it. So I really appreciate that. She's 16 now, but when she was 13, we were just having a normal everyday Tuesday night dinner And she said, I just want to let you both know that I'm bisexual. And then she paused. And I went, great. Well, it's really good that you understand that about yourself and that you're happy to share it with us, and understand that for me, it doesn't make any difference to how I feel about you. And then I kind of left it there. And Scott, my husband, was probably a bit more blindsided than I might have been, but said something very similar, saying, well, doesn't matter. As far as I'm concerned, I love you for who you are, and whoever you are is what's important to me. Then we kind of moved on, and we kind of started talking about how great the chips were or something like that. So I always worried that, and especially in getting involved in the community and understanding a bit more about these great stories that you've shared today, I felt like maybe it was more to her than we acknowledged. So I went back to her a couple of weeks ago and I said, was that the case? Were you expecting for a bit more hugs, a bit more excitement about it? And she said that actually for her, she wasn't. And what really reassured her at the time was it might have been something big for her, but it so appeared to be nothing big for us. And her big fear was that it was going to be something huge for us. And I think that really ties in with what both Gail and Paula said. It's massive for them. It was massive for Olivia. And it really, absolutely, the last thing on my mind and on my husband's was that we would feel differently about her. And I'm so pleased that we managed to get that across, despite the fact that we weren't really prepared and we weren't really thinking about it. So we have quite a positive memory of that happening. And what's really good is, out of this discussion, I've been able to go back to her and confirm that she also got what she needed out of it.
Just to say thank you, Paula, Kat, and Gail, for sharing your sides of it. It's so interesting to hear parents' experience of it. The way that I came out to my parents is a bit of a combination of some of the things that you've said. So I came home to see my parents and they said, we haven't seen you for a while. What's been going on? Do you have a boyfriend? And I said, no, I've got a girlfriend and she'll be here in 5 minutes. I didn't think I would be believed if I said, I'm gay. I know I'm gay. So I really felt that I needed to have that person there to prove. But what I did in that moment was I didn't open the door for a conversation for us to actually talk about what it meant for me to be gay to them and what it meant for me to be gay to me. It took a long time for us to be able to talk about some of this subject matter in a way that felt safe and which they felt safe. So yeah, it's just such an interesting process and it's such a difficult thing and we don't have guidance of how to do it.
Shows though that there's an underlying current in society that if people before they come out feel the fear of rejection, there's something not quite right.
Yeah.
Isn't there?
What we're hearing is that these new generations are coming out younger. I was 24. We've got people here who came out at 11, at 13, and that those conversations went so well. So it's something is definitely moving in the right direction on that front.
Coming out to me, it used to mean telling someone you were gay or lesbian, but as I've grown up and grown more mature, I realised there's a lot more nuances in the LGBTQ plus community. So it means a lot more different things to me now.
I see it like as a twofold thing, really. I see it as like recognizing your authentic self to yourself first, seeing how you want to be, and kind of accepting that first. Accepting who you are inside and liking that person and wanting to show that person to the world. And then the second part, really is just saying it to everybody, being proud of who you are, and just saying, this is the way I want to live my life, my authentic life, and being happy from there on in. And, obviously accepting the challenges that happen. But yeah, I see it's twofold.
If someone's coming out to you, say your child's coming out to you, the only advice I'd give you is the type of thing you do to your child for anything, especially if they're distressed. It's a big, massive hug, and I love you, and I'm always there for you. I don't think anyone needs more than that.
I totally agree, Paula. That's lovely. And that's really the only thing to get across as a parent, in that it's a big thing and you're there to support them. But as far as you're concerned, it's not a big thing. It's about them and you feel exactly the same way about them. but also the concept that it's potentially the start of a conversation. I mean, they may not have all the answers to all the questions that you both might have right there and then. So it's the start of a journey that you go on together, and it can bring you so close. You know, it's an amazing thing to have that sort of interaction with your child.
My advice to parents in a similar situation to this is really from my heart. I had to think about this, and I've got 5 pieces of advice, and those are: open your mind, open your heart, listen to your child, love unconditionally, and you really can conquer anything together.
I think we should have that on a t-shirt, Gail.
Yeah.
Well, we can suggest it on the ARG cat. I like that.
Let's do that.
Wow.
Thank you to everybody for your openness and vulnerability in this conversation today. And thank you to the Building Pride Employee Resource Group for bringing this to our attention.